When installing a transfer switch on a generator for a homeowner and the transfer switch does not switch the grounded conductor, it is important to understand the grounding requirements. Since the transfer switch does not switch the grounded conductor, a separately derived system is not created. This means the grounding electrode requirements outlined in Article 250.30 of the National Electrical Code do not apply. The main bonding jumper located in the homeowner's service panel already connects the grounded conductor to the grounding electrode system. This connection provides a necessary path for fault current to flow back to the source, ensuring proper operation of overcurrent protection devices such as circuit breakers. When the generator is connected to the transfer switch, this existing grounding system is sufficient for grounding the generator. Introducing a separate grounding electrode for the generator would not provide any additional protection and could potentially create a ground loop. A ground loop can occur where multiple grounding paths exist, leading to unwanted current flow through the grounding conductors. This current flow can then cause problems with the generator's neutral to ground voltage, leading to instability, noise, and potentially even equipment damage. The main bonding jumper serves as a single, essential connection between the grounded conductor, the equipment grounding conductors, and the grounding electrode system. This single connection is carefully designed to ensure that all metallic parts of the electrical system are at the same electrical potential, minimizing the risk of electric shock and facilitating the clearing of ground faults. The purpose of the grounding electrode system, connected to the grounded conductor via the main bonding jumper, is to provide a low impedance path to ground for fault currents. When a fault occurs, such as a hot wire coming into contact with a metallic enclosure, the fault current flows through the grounding conductors back to the source, which is typically the transformer supplying power to the building. This high fault current causes the overcurrent protection device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse, to trip, quickly disconnecting the circuit and preventing electrical shock or fire hazards. Because a separately derived system is not created by the non-switch neutral transfer switch, installing a second grounding electrode at the generator becomes unnecessary and potentially detrimental. It is crucial to verify that all connections are made properly at the main bonding jumper in the service panel, ensuring a solid and reliable ground connection. This verification includes checking the tightness of the connections and ensuring that the grounding conductors are of the appropriate size as specified by the National Electrical Code. The size of the grounding conductors is determined by the size of the service entrance conductors. Refer to NEC Table 250.102. Furthermore, understanding the concept of impedance is essential when dealing with grounding systems. Impedance is the total opposition to current flow in an alternating current circuit, and it includes both resistance and reactance. A low impedance grounding path is crucial for effectively clearing ground faults. Introducing additional grounding electrodes can increase the impedance of the grounding path, especially if the additional electrodes are not properly installed or are located in areas with poor soil conductivity. The increased impedance can then reduce the effectiveness of the grounding system, potentially delaying the tripping of overcurrent protection devices during a fault. Moreover, the National Electrical Code provides specific guidelines for grounding and bonding electrical systems. It is important to consult the latest edition of the NEC and any applicable local codes to ensure compliance with all requirements. In Article 250, the NEC addresses grounding and bonding requirements for various types of electrical systems, including separately derived systems and non-separately derived systems. Understanding the distinctions between these systems is crucial for proper installation and safety. When working with generators and transfer switches, it is also important to consider the specific instructions provided by the manufacturer. The manufacturer's instructions often include detailed information on grounding and bonding requirements, as well as other important safety considerations. These instructions should be followed carefully to ensure proper operation and to avoid voiding any warranties. In addition to the main bonding jumper, equipment grounding conductors play a vital role in the overall grounding system. Equipment grounding conductors connect the metallic enclosures of electrical equipment to the grounding system, providing a lower impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source. These conductors are typically green or bare copper and are run along with the circuit conductors. Proper installation of equipment grounding conductors is essential for safety. All connections must be tight and secure, and the conductors must be of the appropriate size. The size of the equipment grounding conductors is determined by the size of the circuit conductors. Refer to NEC Table 250.122. Furthermore, it is important to understand the difference between grounding and bonding. Grounding refers to connecting the electrical system to the earth, while bonding refers to connecting metallic parts of the electrical system together to create a low impedance path for fault current. Both grounding and bonding are essential for safety and proper operation of the electrical system. In summary, when dealing with a transfer switch that does not switch the grounded conductor, a separately derived system is not created, and the grounding electrode requirements of Article 250.30 do not apply. The existing grounding system in the homeowner's service panel with its main bonding jumper provides sufficient grounding for the generator when connected to the transfer switch. Adding a separate grounding electrode for the generator is unnecessary and could potentially create a ground loop, which can lead to problems with the generator's neutral to ground voltage. Always consult the latest edition of the National Electrical Code and the manufacturer's instructions to ensure compliance with all requirements. Remember, the main bonding jumper is the critical link. It connects the grounded conductor to the grounding electrode system and provides the essential path for fault current. Secondly, adding additional grounding electrodes can be counterproductive and increase impedance, which can affect the grounding system and delay the overcurrent device. Thirdly, follow the NEC and manufacturer instructions for a safe installation. By understanding these principles, you can ensure a safe and reliable installation for the homeowner. The path of least resistance is not always the best path, specifically regarding the grounding and bonding. Also remember the importance of voltage drop and the importance of keeping all connections properly torqued. All wires must be connected properly and screwed in very tight to prevent any sort of looseness. A loose wire can cause arcing. The neutral to ground voltage must also be checked and must be minimal. The neutral to ground voltage must be less than 2 volts. Anything above 2 volts is bad. Also make sure that the equipment grounding conductor is connected at the main panel to the neutral. The equipment grounding conductor cannot be connected to the neutral in a sub-panel. The impedance from the line to neutral must be low. This is good for providing a good fault current path. The impedance from the line to ground must also be low. This is also good for a fault current path. Be sure to do an impedance test of both of these things to make sure that the impedance is low. If the impedance is high, there is a poor connection somewhere. You must have a good path from the line to ground and the line to neutral. If there is a bad connection, the fault current will travel on any path available and it could shock someone. The equipment grounding conductor is there to protect the person in case of a fault and to quickly trip the breaker. Therefore, it is important to keep all connections very tight. If the equipment grounding conductor is not properly bonded, a person could get shocked. All electrical components must be properly grounded and bonded to prevent shock. In addition, a good quality surge protector should be installed to prevent any voltage spikes from damaging equipment. The surge protector should be connected to both the line and the neutral. It should also be connected to the ground. The grounding electrode conductor must be made of copper or another corrosion-resistant material. The grounding electrode conductor must be properly sized according to the NEC. The grounding electrode conductor must be connected to the grounding electrode using a listed connector. All metal parts of the electrical system must be bonded together. This includes metal conduit, metal enclosures, and metal water pipes. Bonding ensures that all metal parts are at the same electrical potential. Bonding helps to prevent electric shock. The bonding jumper must be sized according to the NEC. The bonding jumper must be connected to the metal parts using listed connectors. All connections must be tight and secure. A loose connection can cause arcing and overheating. All wiring must be properly supported. Wiring must not be allowed to sag or droop. Wiring must be protected from physical damage. Wiring must be protected from moisture. Wiring must be installed in accordance with the NEC. All electrical work must be performed by a qualified electrician. Electrical work can be dangerous. Do not attempt to do electrical work unless you are qualified. The electrician must inspect the electrical system to ensure that it is safe. The electrician must test the electrical system to ensure that it is working properly. The electrician must provide a written report of the inspection and testing. The homeowner should keep the written report for their records. The electrical system should be inspected and tested regularly. This will help to ensure that the electrical system is safe and working properly. The homeowner should contact a qualified electrician to perform the inspection and testing. The electrician should be licensed and insured. The electrician should have experience inspecting and testing electrical systems. The electrician should be familiar with the NEC. The electrician should be able to provide a written report of the inspection and testing. The homeowner should keep the written report for their records. Grounding electrode conductors must be connected to a grounding electrode. The grounding electrode must be a metal rod, pipe, or plate that is buried in the earth. The grounding electrode must be in contact with the earth. The grounding electrode must be of sufficient size and length to provide a low impedance path to ground. The grounding electrode must be located as close as possible to the electrical service. The grounding electrode conductor must be connected to the grounding electrode using a listed connector. All connections must be tight and secure. A loose connection can cause arcing and overheating. Grounding electrodes serve the function of dissipating electrical energy into the earth. Grounding electrodes are necessary to help stabilize voltage to earth during normal operation. Grounding electrodes are necessary to limit the voltage on equipment during lightning events. The earth cannot be used as an effective fault current path. The earth has too much impedance to carry fault current. Fault current must return to the source through a low impedance path. This is why equipment grounding conductors are required. Equipment grounding conductors are connected to the neutral at the service. This creates a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source. When fault current returns to the source, it will trip the breaker. This will protect people from electric shock. Without equipment grounding conductors, fault current may not return to the source. This could result in a person being shocked. So therefore it is necessary to connect the grounding electrode system. The grounding electrode system also includes things like metal water pipes, metal building frame, and concrete encased electrodes. A concrete encased electrode is also known as a UFO ground. It is a steel reinforcing bar that is encased in concrete. The steel reinforcing bar must be at least 20 feet long. The steel reinforcing bar must be in direct contact with the earth. Concrete encased electrodes are very effective grounding electrodes. They have a very low impedance to ground. Therefore, always make sure that all metal parts are properly grounded and bonded. Also be sure to use a qualified electrician to do any electrical work. A qualified electrician will know how to properly ground and bond the electrical system. A qualified electrician will also be able to inspect and test the electrical system to ensure that it is safe. So remember to use a qualified electrician and to properly ground and bond all metal parts. Then the electrical system will be much safer for people. So in this situation it is not necessary to connect the generator to a grounding electrode because it is not a separately derived system.